everyone. This summer I decided I wanted to transform 2 underdeveloped parts of my yard so that by next spring and summer I'd have 2 new beautifully landscaped areas to enjoy. To get you up to speed just very quickly, I've been turning my dust bowl of a backyard into what I'm calling my renter-friendly homestead. I've divided my yard up into what I call levels, like 1, 1.5, 2, and 3. And last time you were with me out here, I was cleaning up and resetting level 2 and getting started on level 3. But since then, I've been trying to figure out what is the real purpose of these other 2 areas of the yard. And finally, I was thinking I really don't have an area dedicated in this backyard to just relaxing and unwinding. So I started to think one of these 2 levels could be a zone for just slowing down. So let me show you what this space has been looking like, and then I'll show you some of my plans and we'll get into it. My plan is I want the vibe out here to be somewhat like Mediterranean, which means I probably want some like little rock pebbles as ground cover. I want lots of lush plants and some cute ambient lighting, and definitely some earthy colors that match the rest of the house and the other parts of the yard. And then in order to make this a space where I can just really unplug, I thought I could intentionally activate the 5 senses so that I can make this a sensory garden oasis. So for touch and smell, I'm thinking maybe some citronella and lemongrass. And then of course I want to add in like some more herbs for smelling and using in the kitchen. And then for hearing, I was thinking of maybe incorporating some kind of like trickling water sound, like a little fountain or something like that. And then for taste, I think I really just want some more plants in here that I can just like pick and eat off of the actual plant, because that's what we actually end up doing in here. In the spring and summer, the loquat tree has so many fruits. We usually just take it right off the tree and eat it there. And then for sight, this is obviously like a super beautiful backyard, but I really think I want to pack this bed right here with a bunch of really pretty flowers that I can use for cutting and just to add a lot of color. So those are the 5 senses that I'm aiming to highlight in this little sensory garden. But I also want to bring in some more Zen vibes to just kind of create an intentional zone. So I thought if I could really clear out some space in here to bring out my little meditation pillows outside, that would be so nice. And then maybe I could store them here in the breezeway in the cabinets. And I think that would just be like a really great way to slow down in this space. So I have to get started on this area by adding some more mulch around the pepper bed. And then there's tons to do. So let's get into it. So fall is actually a really great time to get back outside or back into the garden because you still have some of that summer daylight and the heat has dissipated, or in some areas the rain has finally let up depending on where you live. So I think you can consider fall like a second spring. I love doing a little spring cleaning, and I think I do most of it in these shoulder months, I guess you could call them, like March and September, to just get ready for the season ahead. So I decided for the rest of the year I'm going to just chip away at these 2 parts of my backyard that haven't really been touched as much as the other areas. I did think it would be cool to potentially have some plumbing over here and like maybe just fill this entire area in with these river rocks and pebbles, and then have some kind of like reciprocating pump system so that there could be like a little creek that goes along this wall and then it just recycles itself and turns around and comes all the way back up. That'll be a really chic and fun feature to have back here, but I definitely don't think that's going to happen for me at the moment. However, I'm wondering if I should cover this whole area up in more pebbles because there's already a ton of rocks here, so it would probably be more work to remove all these rocks rather than just add to it and make it look more intentional, I guess. I get that they're probably kind of acting like a retaining wall, so I don't know if it makes sense to like bring them down this little hilly part. I don't know, this might be like a longer project for the future, but for now, adding some of this mulch here is definitely an improvement. I need to put a trellis on this really quickly to just get it off the ground. So clearly it's not perfect, but the square shape is helpful when you forget to trellis because you can just open it up. These husky cherry tomatoes should fruit through December, which is why it's definitely worth it to just keep caring for it. So I think this will help. I know it looks a little sad at the moment, but it'll perk up. And then I need to take this compost over to behind the shed over there. So this is not going to live here full time. I just need help carrying it because it's heavy. But this is just so nice to have this extra walking space here. This is great. I was originally thinking of putting some mulch down here as well, and this whole area could be mulched. But then because the leaves literally are dropping every day, except until like spring and summer, every time I would go to pick these up with a rake, I would be picking up all of the mulch. And if I used my blower, then I would just be blowing away all the mulch. So I really don't think wood mulch is the answer. So now I'm thinking, is it worth investing in a bunch of little pebbles here so that the whole area is kind of pebbled and a little bit more kind of Zen garden, Mediterranean garden looking? I think I can just remove everything from this bed and maybe put some of these things in pots or elsewhere in the yard. And then once I'm working with a free space, this area is just going to feel different. But before I get into that, I really need to get started on trimming this jade tree right here. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to do some fine tuning on this so it doesn't look so crazy, but it definitely does look better. This one was totally rotten at the bottom, so it just kind of fell over when I touched it. And this one right here is also crooked, which also makes me think that it's rotten on the bottom. So I'll probably just take that out and then leave the ones that are just standing up straight. But I'm not worried because we've cut this back before and it'll grow back. It's pretty resilient. As for all these, I think I can turn them into cuttings by just potting them in some soil, or maybe I can leave them on the driveway like in a box and just give them away to neighbors or something, because they do root again as they're just succulents. Okay, it is getting so hot out here. I'm probably gonna have to take a break soon, honestly. It's probably not the best time to be working in 90-degree heat and like 80% humidity, but I just need to get it done because the summer is not going away. So I was thinking maybe if I set up some lights over here, I can come back out here when it's a lot darker and cooler out to just finish cleaning up all of the detritus and stuff and work in just some cooler weather. So I got 2 boxes of these lights off of Amazon. I was looking everywhere for some outdoor looking lights with the bulbs on them, but I don't have plugs out here, so I was looking for something that is solar, and I found these ones that are 100 feet long, and they come with a solar panel that you can just plug into, and then you charge it for like 6 hours, and it should power on at night when it gets dark out. But I needed a way to hang them up, so I went to Lowe's looking for some like 8-foot stakes that I could just stick into the dirt, and I was talking to this guy, and he told me about these metal poles that come in little small pieces, so you can make them like as tall or as short as you need to. And then they come with these giant prongs that go onto the bottom that you stick into the ground. They're about 6 inches long, and they're supposed to be windproof if you put them all the way in. And then this final top piece has like an open Y that you can just slide on your string of lights, and then that's it. So I'll definitely link it below in the description if you want to try these out, because I think they're super cool. Took it over to the roof of this little playhouse and just put it underneath the little roof tiles. I'll probably have to put in some nails to hold it there permanently. And then over here, this little branch just has like a natural notch where this can sit. So I might end up tying this with like a zip tie or something to keep it there permanently. But for now, I think that's great. And then over here, I just have it on a twig of this ivy, which I need something more permanent for this. I was going to put one of those stakes there, but as you can see, there's a bunch of cement and super hard ground with rocks. So I don't know if those prongs will go in there. So I might just end up putting like a cement hook into this wall here so I can keep it there permanently. This one here, I definitely would prefer to like put it more in the corner here, but there's these random cement blocks, so I can't. On this one, I actually ended up resting it on one of the branches here just because it was drooping a bit and I didn't want to have to put another stake right here just because it's kind of an awkward spot to do so, and there's a bunch of rocks on this side. So I don't know, I think this will work for now. And then over here, I just kind of rested it on the lemon tree. If I need to, I can always move it around, so it's not a huge big deal. But yeah, I really love this. I think it's super cute and I can't wait to see what it looks like tonight. Okay, you guys, it's about that time that I need to take a break and probably revisit this part of the yard tomorrow. I'll definitely show you what the lights are looking like tonight. Before that, though, I need to have some lunch and take a shower. I'm just gonna grab some things from the garden and show you guys how I've been able to grow and cultivate food out here and then bring it directly into my kitchen, my newly made over kitchen, which is really exciting. So I'm just gonna see what's like ripe and what looks good, and then we'll go inside and I'll show you how I make it. So let's go do that. This is my first pumpkin. I think this is a sugar pie pumpkin, and this is what you use to make pumpkin pie. They end up being kind of small like this, but how exciting, right? And I always have a plethora of cherry tomatoes to pick. I also have like a little honeydew growing. So this is a honeydew melon. So hopefully that gets a little bit bigger. Before I go inside, I wanted to show you guys kind of a full circle moment. So if you saw my first backyard makeover, I had planted this passion fruit that I'm standing under right now that I'll show you in a moment. And I said, my dream is to just be able to walk underneath this arch and just grab a passion fruit from above my head. And now I have tons of passion fruits up here. So I was gonna grab one so that I could make a drink or put it in my yogurt or something later. There's tons of them up here and it's just been so prolific. And you know, these are probably like $12 just for 4 of them at the grocery store. So this is super cool to have this many here. And then because it hasn't totally reached to the bottom, I've been growing peas and now I have cucumber here that I've been growing and harvesting. Okay, I'm back in the house and a lot cleaner, a lot more cool, and I'm ready to make some lunch. We're back in my kitchen here, as you can see, and I just grabbed everything in the yard that I thought looked good. I put everything in a colander in the sink and just kind of like rinse it off. And then I do a second wash, especially on items like tomatoes that have like an outer skin that you eat. So I use this Trader Joe's vegetable wash. It's kind of like a vinegar-based wash. And basically it just gives me some more peace of mind that my produce is clean and fresh and ready to eat. While I was getting ready, I had some time to think about it, and I think I'm going to make a corn salad. This is something that we started eating last summer, and we loved it. It's so fresh and good and crunchy and juicy, and I love it. And while I've been enjoying these fresh herbs and vegetables from the garden for just daily meals, I've also been leaning on a few staples that I haven't really taken the tedious time to grow myself, like bread, which brings us to today's sponsor, Wild Grain. Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for sourdoughs, artisanal pastries, and fresh pastas. So you can create your own monthly box of frozen, ready-to-bake sourdoughs or gluten-free and plant-based items from small bakeries all around the US. But if you want a sweet treat, they include pastries too. This month, Wild Grain sent me their gluten-free items as we're just trying to be a little bit more gluten conscious. And I'm really excited about this seedy sourdough loaf with this butter. I think this is going to pair so well with my corn salad on top, or even just with some cucumbers and tomatoes from the garden. It's been so fun to pair my own homegrown produce with something special like this, without having to get something that's store-bought or having to create my own dough from scratch, although I do want to try that at some point. I personally have always preferred sourdough over any other bread, and I love that they have a gluten-free option and that all of their sourdoughs are clean and slow fermented and truly taste like something from a local bakery. I really can't wait for the next box to come in because I'm really getting in the fall spirit finally, and they have some super tasty looking fall seasonal items like apple cider donuts or pumpkin cinnamon biscuits. Everything from Wild Grain baked straight from the freezer to golden brown in about 25 minutes, so it's really quick and easy with no mess. I also feel really good ordering from this small business that's based in Boston because they donate 2 meals per every order. If you guys could only smell this, it smells so good. So if you want to try Wild Grain, then make sure you use the link down in my description below with the code LIVINGWITHLK so you can get $30 off your first box and free croissants for life. And make sure not to miss those seasonal items because they really do sell out fast. looks so good. This is all my stuff from the garden. I'm really excited to eat this. So I need to refuel and then I will meet you guys back out in the garden. Okay, it's a new day. I think it's been 2 days since we last talked. I have a lot to catch you up on and we'll just kind of speed through it really quickly. We went to Home Depot and picked up a ton of bags of pebbles. I think I picked up 12 bags in total. 6 bags of the medium size, 6 bags of the smaller pebbles. Because I think the river pebbles are just gonna take up a little bit more volume, whereas the pea pebbles are of course smaller, so I would need more bags. We also started out the day by going out to the nursery, looking at a ton of different plants and ended up finding some really good ones that I think are gonna bring in some color and texture and kind of achieve the 5 senses thing that I'm going for. And then yesterday, it was so hot once again, and I had my partner out here with me to just help with a bunch of these boring tasks, like picking up all of these dead leaves and branches from the jade tree and also trimming the lemon tree. We also took out all the weeds in this back bed here. Removed the big dragon fruit, which hasn't been really fruiting. So I need to go pot those and put them somewhere else where they'll get more sun year round. So I had to pick up some bags of pebbles because I decided that that's what I'm going to do in this little area here, is just rip out the center bed and take all of those plants and kind of just plant them elsewhere and just put them in pots for now. I decided that I was going to keep all the soil that was in this bed because it all still had a bunch of nutrients and probably some fertilizer left over. And then I just dumped this in some of my other beds that needed to be topped off. Before laying down the pebbles, I just tried to flatten this area as much as possible by watering it, tamping it, and raking it. As we dumped out these bags, we just alternated between bigger pebbles and smaller pebbles to get an even coverage and just tried to create a big rectangle, as I definitely don't have enough pebbles for this whole area. I think I eventually want to take the pebbles all the way down to these wine barrels and around the tree, but it'll have to be something I do in the future when budget allows. I bought this collapsible hammock a while ago, and I think it's really great because I can just pick it up and move it around anywhere, as it's pretty light. And it's not the most attractive hammock, but it was affordable and it folds up. So we just brought it over here to just enjoy the space and kind of relax after doing all that hard work. So now we're out here, and today is a completely opposite day of yesterday. It's not hot, it's super cool. It even rained earlier. It's raining a little bit now. So I'm gonna show you all these plants I picked up and find a spot for them, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so this is what we're starting with. I believe this is a native plant. This is supposed to do well in shade, actually. This is like a woolly plant. It's so soft. This was to bring in some like yellow. These all grow pretty big, by the way. This is some citronella. It smells so good the minute you touch it. This is a euphorbia, but it's so pretty because it's like red and purple and green. This is the lemongrass that I picked up, and I love that it kind of just looks like a big shrub. I also got some of these, which I thought were really pretty. They're called Gomphrena Buddy Purple. This is a Tapata Gold, And I think these get pretty big. We saw some mature versions at the nursery. And then I got 2 bay leaf trees. So maybe these go in pots. And then I got this big pot for only $29 at Home Depot. And I love the shape. I think it's so pretty. I have this pot. I've had this forever. I don't know where I got it, but I've been growing this olive tree from like a little tiny baby. And I was gonna put it in this one, but maybe I could just put it in here. Maybe I could plant something here. I definitely kind of want to plant something here, like in this back corner, just to kind of delineate this space from the other space, which means I could also plant something here because I don't think we need to like walk over here, and then maybe plant something in front of this jade tree to kind of block it a little bit, just to add some like depth and layering. So first I'm thinking of maybe putting this purple plant right here in the middle as like a focal point to take up the space that the dragon fruit was taking up. Has a little bit more height to it. And then this is a skyscraper purple salvia. And I love the color on it. It's got a really nice burgundy color. And then this is like a magenta flower. This right here is bergamot, so this does bloom like a purpley flower, and I think it would do better in a bed, and it gets pretty big. Okay, so here I planted 2 comfrey plants. These can get really big, but the point is to cut them back and create fertilizer tea for my garden. So I think they'll do well here. This is just like in a little lissom plant. And then I planted the euphorbia right next to this one. I think that will look really pretty. It should fill out. Then we got the catnip. These both will fill out, and I hope this whole area will just kind of feel really bushy. And my wildflowers and lettuce here. So this will all kind of fill out as well. Hopefully this will kind of like grow out into this corner and kind of cover up this weird wall thing. So I picked up these from Home Depot. They're completely like flexible garden path dividers. I don't know what you want to call them. They were like $13 each. And I kind of wanted this to be like my little native or poppy flower bed. So I could just get rid of these tiles here and then just move the rocks all the way over. So there would be like rocks from the entrance right here with no stones all the way to here. And then the bed would kind of live like that. It might make more sense here if I end up putting snapdragons and flowers here, and then it brings some like color to this side of the wall. Snapdragons do really well in the winter, and there's just a mix of colors with these. They get about 2 feet tall. And then when they die off in the spring, I can put something else there, like sunflowers or something. I think this is so pretty and really, really cute and a good use of the area. Finally, it doesn't feel so random, but despite it being cooler outside, it's so humid and still so hot. So I think we just need to take a break and think about where to put all of the rest of the plants. I'll follow up with you later today or just on another day. Okay, you guys, I think today is the final day. I needed some time to kind of figure out where all these plants are gonna go in the yard because I do want all of them here just to make this whole space kind of feel enclosed and super lush, but I didn't really know which one should go on the ground. And this morning, my partner came out here and helped me move all of the wine barrels in front of the jade tree because I just think it needs a little bit of layering. So I think that will really help. And then I went to another nursery last night and picked up some more little plants for pretty cheap, like $4 each. And I just wanted to kind of fill out these barrels just because some plants end up dying as they're more annuals than they are perennials. And then I also had my partner help me bring in this really big, heavy thing that I got on Facebook Marketplace that I'll show you guys in a moment. But first, I wanted to head over to the little playhouse and just give it a touch-up of paint. I'm going to use the same blue that I used on the table that was in the breezeway and also on the bench on the patio area, just so that there's more blue out here. So I think this will be a nice little improvement. The blue is a little bit more prominent now behind the jade tree, so I guess that's helpful. And maybe in the next episode of this backyard makeover series, I'll do something with this playhouse. But for now, I think we should just move on. So here is the big thing that we carried down here this morning. This is a chimenea, and you basically just put wood in here, very small amount, and then it can either warm up the space or just put out like a really nice scent. And it's made out of terracotta, and it's in really good condition. I only got it for $40. When I went to Sedona earlier this year, I had showed you guys in one of my videos that I went to this place that had this Palo Santo smell, and it was like coming out of these chimneys. And I realized that you can get Palo Santo logs and just burn them in your fire. So I bought a couple online. They're coming to me soon. Hopefully I can show you by the end of this video. And basically you can just put them on the inside of the chimenea and then the whole area will just smell like Palo Santo. And I also have some white sage growing, so I can dry some of those out and kind of put that in there. So it's kind of like an incense and smelling moment while I'm meditating out here. I thought that would be so nice. So I thought this could be fun and kind of like a little sculptural moment. And then I got this really cute bird bath from a local nursery, and I wanted to put in like a little solar fountain so I could get that gurgling water sound. It's made of something called fiber clay. It's really light, but it looks and feels kind of like clay, which is really nice. So someone can sit like right here, and then the citronella plant will kind of help with the mosquitoes and it'll smell good. So this should be more than enough space for 2 people. And if it's not, we can definitely like move it around. That's kind of the whole point of this area, is to be flexible. My next Facebook Marketplace find was 3 of these plant stands for only 15 bucks. So I think I might use one in the house, and then I'll put one back here just to add some more height and color. And then I have this little 4-way hanger for some bird feeder. And then I got this really pretty terracotta pot from an estate sale for only $20. Okay, nothing's new. It's super hot. I'm sweating. I'm gross. And I think I just need to plant everything now that I know where it goes for sure. And then I'll show you the reveal of this space. I am absolutely loving it. I think it's so different than how it was before. I picked up 2 of these cattail plants and I want to put them back here to just kind of fill out this corner. And I think it might delineate it from the playhouse area and hopefully grow really bushy and just make the whole space feel more enclosed. this area is kind of empty just because we moved everything over, I think I could put these 2 plants here and just plant them directly in the ground. I think they'll do pretty well. Okay, it's finally cooled off out here a little bit, which is so nice and so needed. But before I show you the final reveal of this space, let's just take a moment to remember what it used to look like. To me, this third backyard area feels completely transformed, and it feels like this space also finally has a purpose. Clearly, the breezeway is for cooking and barbecuing and also potting and planting, and the patio is for entertaining and hosting, but this space here, this is just for me to relax and unwind and disconnect. We already had dinner out here at this little table and we put the chimenea on, and it was honestly as if we were on vacation. The lights, the fire, just the whole vibe was so good and it smelled amazing. I feel like this little area is kind of like our little Zen retreat. This was absolutely a labor of love in the middle of the summer and also was quite an investment financially, but I do think it was worth it. I'm really going to get so much out of this space, especially in the cooler months. And despite investing a decent amount of money into this space, I think most of it is portable, so if it needed to move, it could. At the end of the day, I think I did what I set out to do originally, which was to create this sensory garden with first smell from the herbs and citronella and even just the basil or the palo santo that I put in the chimenea. And then I have taste with all of the edible plants over here, which I'm definitely going to keep adding to for sure, like maybe some blueberries or raspberries. And then there's sound from the fountain and the crunching of the pebbles underfoot, the crackling of the fire, and then the rustling leaves and birds. And then I've got touch with all of these really soft plants that I absolutely love. And then all of the flowers and color over here that is just such a joy to look at. It's truly become this sensory garden. There's still more that I'd love to do, but the way that this area came together is giving me a lot of inspiration for the third part of our yard. So I'm gonna definitely be chipping away at that as the weather cools down. So make sure to hit subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified of when I post another backyard update. But in the meantime, I'm planning on doing a Q&A, so definitely drop a comment and let me know your questions, especially if they're gardening or landscaping related. I definitely am not an expert, but I have learned so much from making over all of these spaces in the yard and would love to share that with you guys if you're interested. But other than that, you can follow me on Instagram for updates in between these bigger videos just to see how everything is evolving at the house and out here in the yard. So I will see you guys next week. Bye.